Good morning. It is now 9 o'clock a.m., and I will call the Sewage and Water Board Finance and Administration Committee meeting to order. Special counsel, please call the roll.
Director Kennedy,
Here.
Director Pacio,
Here.
Director Greenwich,
Here.
Director Scruggs.
Present.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We will now proceed with our first presentation item, Executive Summary Report with Gray Lewis, our CFO. Gray.
Well, thank you. Good morning, directors. Got a flurry of events, have been going on, so we'll comment on those, and the customer service leadership team is going to help out towards the end of some of the remarks I'd like to make. So happy to update the committee on the finances. As you know, this month, February, was the system conversion, so it's kind of a incomplete reporting in a way, especially on the expense side, but we're working on getting the system stabilized, getting all the business processes are occurring on a daily basis here now. We're into April. So as I mentioned, we are very busy. We work with the hypercare team, with the implementation consultants every day. So it's, I think, making progress, some challenges at the beginning. But here in the February numbers, we're reporting 20.5 million of total system-wide revenue. So that was 9.2 million of water, 11.3 million of sewer operating revenues. We received a 12.7 million in tax money from the millages for the drainage system. So that was the early payments. The due date was February 28th. So that's ahead of budget, where the water sewer revenues are behind budget for both February, the month, and then month to date, January and February together. And that's driven by bill counts, the total bills issued during the month. So we'll talk about that in a couple slides. The operating expenses, a lot of what we entered right when the system went live was for the prior fiscal year for 25. So as I mentioned, that's not really complete. We didn't just go ahead and put in a lot of estimates. We're just trying to get the system stabilized and up, and then in March and April, that'll normalize, because we still incurred all the same type of expenses for chemicals and payroll, of course, all of those things. But yeah, right now we're focusing both on the audit for 2025. The auditors are here, and then we're working on getting the monthly financials back to more normalized. On the next slide, I wanted to highlight cash collections for the month of February, 18.9 million. I just received the March number of 24,275,000. So 24 almost 3 million was received in March from our customers for water sewer. That was actually the largest number, monthly total, since October 2024. We believe it's correlated with higher promise pay installment payments, and then the ramping up of service interruptions that we've done. We see those in the numbers. And then the combination of the more general areas, just consumer behavior after the first month or two of the year, paying a little more, and then the smart metering has provided the consistency we expect. So hopefully that's the beginning of a good trend on the cash collections. On this slide, we're just charting out the collected ratio for that 12-month period ending February. Is running about 9% uncollected, so it is higher than last year. That'll improve with March's numbers, with that high cash figure that we got for March collections, 24.3 million again. On our next slide, our smart metering continues to provide the benefits. As I mentioned, there was about 112,000 bills issued in the month of March. Just about 2% did not contain the consumption or reading information. And on this slide, I didn't have a couple of these numbers when this originally went out, but the way this breaks down for the month, there was about 99,000 residential bills issued, 13,608 were non-residential for the 112, and of those 2,457 did not contain consumption. So just taking a step back, you look at the last few months of bill counts, it's varied a good bit. We just got the March numbers that they're much higher. So when we're low for a couple months, we end up being higher. So if we look April going forward, we're working with the new leadership and getting the processes so that all the cycles build about the same amount of time, so you get closer to more of a 145, 140,000. That's the number of connections we have. And then absent these other events that tend to occur the month of February, you had the Carnival week, created some disruption. Anytime there are holidays, that creates some changes in when the bills go out. And then the other numbers here on the details on the non-red, I had these later too. It was 150 of the unable to locate, 2,075 unable to reach mechanical meters, and 232 smart meters that weren't able to communicate. So continuing to work on that process to get those numbers as low as possible. On this slide is our HDI report for the month of February. The HDI, the council's group recommended 679,000 of credit to customer bills that got implemented in accordance with our agreement with the council, and then the total for the whole month provided by the customer service team is about 1.45 million of customer credit. We have seen a increased volume with the HDI calls and some of the media that's occurred because of operations, but continue just to follow the process that was laid out by the council in adjusting the customer's bills where appropriate. On customer receivables, as we look comparing end of January to end of February, the past due customers have gone up. It's about 7% increase, primarily in the commercial and multifamily. So we'll continue to work with Renell's team on pursuing the top 100 and all the customers that have balances. The promise pay numbers, 16,118 of these roughly 24,000 customers are enrolled in an installment plan. Those numbers are broken down by size. On this slide, numbers are very similar to last month. Overall, it was 67% at the end of January, so it's just a 1% change there. So we continue to emphasize that as a primary tool to address the past due balances. On this next slide, we're just charting out the number of service disconnects that were issued. It was 1,263 orders for disconnect for past due customers in the month of February. I'm sorry, in March, that number is about 2,000. So that's showing that we did ramp up, and there were 277 increase to payment plans, or number of payment plans that went up by 277 in the month of February. On the dashboard, I kind of did abbreviate a few numbers here. Just one I want to highlight was the days cash on hand. If you recall, last month we discussed into January, we paid a lot of payables out prior to the system conversion. As we look at the cash balance at the end of February, it's back up, so the calculated days cash on hand was 110 for water, 213 for sewer. So it's just a function of all of our business activities that we're processing, and then our loan draws that we get come in on a monthly basis. This was the same period, February 2025. On our next slide on debt obligations, I want to share with the committee a few developments. These are the same financing arrangements and borrowings that we've had that we submit draws on, primarily through the sewer program is the most active. We did send a note about the S&P unfavorable rating decision on the water system. The water credit on March 26th was reduced from A- to triple B+. And then we just got information yesterday. The sewer update was released on the 7th yesterday to also go to triple B+. Talking with the rating agencies, we understand their outlook on the utility sector and the municipal in particular is pretty negative, with the widespread industry facing aging infrastructure. and challenges in financing that CapEx. So a lot of external conditions been discussed, a lot of also New Orleans type of matters dealing with the macro economy and lack of growth and affordability challenges are cited in that report. So we'll forward you a copy of the sewer one as well. We started to take a look at different comments made and thinking about the natural question about which ones are within actionable or within control of management. But we like to bring PFM, our financial advisors, to do a little bit of a presentation of the rating comments we received. Because we have other agencies that have done the updates with them. This is clearly the agency taking the most negative view with the utility sector. So again, we're just preparing to respond to those and get back with the board. But I guess one last thing, just highlighting, they do cite, we've met the covenants historically, so a lot of what is being pointed out as negative has to do with forecasting, forward-looking financials, and all the way 27, 28, 29. So our task, still remains at hand to meet the covenants current year, deal with some of the rate-setting challenges, and work with the leadership in the city as a partner. So not a lot new. They actually did their last update October 2022, S&P, but all these governance and structural matters are really pretty similar, aside from the drainage consolidation that went in January 2025. Some questions. I'll just highlight, there was minimal activity here for CapEx because of the system conversion and then the grant. We'll talk about JIRR on a couple slides because we have been working closely with the GOSEP on that one. But as part of that, I wanted to update the committee on the minor drainage consolidation revenue. This schedule is showing the total amount we received for fiscal 25. We got the last portion of the IMF money. So that comes almost $9.5 million was received for the minor drainage under the new consolidation agreement effective January 1, 2025. It was lower than the $18.9 million we had estimated. So that's been the catch basin cleaning, that contract, that work, it's been on hold a little bit the last couple months. And then the most recent developments, we got the first installment of the January IMF, so $430,000 from the city. We just got last Friday this traffic camera amount that was held in escrow from the city that was released at $3.3 million. So that's been communicated to our drainage networks team to start up with the catch basin cleaning. So that, along with the IMF, we estimated about $10 million for the whole fiscal 26. And if there are any other additional one-time or traffic camera, that's definitely an ongoing discussion with the city about the need to fund and address the minor system, because that's the point of entry for drainage. So the last thing, before I hand it over to the customer service team, I wanted to cover the infrastructure receivables. These are the same three major categories we've been discussing of, very important, strong sense of urgency. We've been working with to have regular calls with GOSEP every week in the city, multiple points to update them on weekly cash forecasting, calls with the city to about clearing any hurdles we have with the grant funding, because we receive the grant funding and then reimburse DPW. So quite a bit going on there. As a result of all that, we paid about, here at the bottom, $4.5 million in the month of March. We just did additional $3 million here this first week of April. And the totals since October, $23.4 million, and then going back to inception of JR, about $249 million. So a continuous flow of invoices, and these are large infrastructure projects. So I'm highlighting the one in the middle, the JR grant funding, the project worksheet 21031. That's as of March 27th was about 23.4 million. So that's been the main driver where we've benefited from the calls with GOSEP leadership, working with the reimbursement team, having the city also on those calls directly. They have their project delivery group, our project delivery group director, making sure that once we receive the invoices from DPW, the applicable support is all there. We can submit it through the GOSEP system, which is the grant reimbursement system. It will follow all the proper checks or reviews, and then result in the cash coming to us so we could turn around and pay DPW. So I think we made some progress there. Always room for improvement, but I just want to let the committee know we're continuing to flow this money in the way the CEA is described. The max pay, the small one at the top, we did propose a 4-year repayment plan to the city. That 3.2 million is for the water system. So waiting to hear back on that. And then the bond project is still in a reconciliation stage for several old projects. So any questions I can?
Yeah, I've got two quick ones. One, have we ever bumped up against the deadline for any CEA payment? Have we ever crossed over or come close to not fulfilling our agreement?
There's like I think it says 3 business days in the CEA. There's been some instances where that's taken longer just because of the paperwork type of issues, but the calls with bi-weekly with the PDU are intended to address some of those just kind of administrative matters that make the CEA, in my opinion, really should say, like a week or 5 business days. Yeah, so we believe we're following all those timing rules, and then use the calls to address any things that need to get corrected.
Is it fair to say then, if we have gone over, it's what you're describing, 5 days instead of 3? I'm trying to see if we have any reason for alarm, or if we hear something. I want to make sure that we have a clear understanding that we've been, great partners in this and responsible. And if we have been, missed the date, it was by days, not weeks.
Yeah, going back in history, there were some larger outliers with the old system and some system issues. So we, just address those with the city, and a mea culpa and an oversight there. But going forward, these most recent ones are, I think, on time. So we're just working with them there.
If I may, I want to also stress that we have been a good partner with the city. We take the responsibility of paying back the money very seriously, and we're urgently working with GOSEP to obtain all available funds and to make them available to the city as soon as possible, to the extent, as he noted, that we're holding weekly meetings that include GOSEP, ourselves, and the city. And so we're doing everything we can to be transparent. And I've even asked GOSEP, is there anything else that we can do to help speed up the process? And when they gave us advice, I'm trying to make sure that the CFO implements it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you. My other question is a little more granular. Early on, I think we have, and I'm really thankful for the new updated data points around closing out smart meters. That's been really enlightening. Can you go to, I think it's 2 or 3, that shows the breakdown? Yeah, that was it. And so we had this unable to reach mechanical meter. We had a great explanation about what that's like. And so I understand, and I also were able to track the smart meters that were not yet able to communicate. And we saw, as we see here, significant progress in that. And now it feels like it's plateauing around a couple hundred, right? And so I think it's time for us to have another inquiry. Is there something that, can we expect that to go to 0? Is that reasonable? or like I don't expect that middle line to go to zero anytime soon. After that presentation was explained to us what that entails, meters being underneath decks and things like that. But we were making substantial progress on that last one, and I'm curious if it's reasonable for that to go to zero. And that may be a Stephen question, I don't know, or I don't want to put you on the spot, Stephen, but
Yeah,
I'm just asking if we can find out. If not, we can bring it up in another committee, but I think that's something we need to, I won't let go until we're at zero with everyone, because that's 200 people plus 200 plus people that we encounter. And I need to be able to explain to them, you know, where we are.
Yeah, maybe probably easiest if we'll follow up with the operations team.
Yeah.
There is some industry standard of, you know, even though the whole population is smart meter, there's some 1% or one, but we'll circle back with you.
And that's what I mean. If you know, if that's what we need to know, that our goal is realistic, because in our mind it's zero, right? And so if it's not, that's cool. We just need to know.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. That's more of Rebecca's side, so.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to.
That's all right. Yeah, we'll get you an understanding of what this is gonna look like in the future.
Perfect.
There's a particular type of meter that we're working on acquiring a crane for, like, it's down in the hole like 10, 20 feet.
Oh, wow.
That's a specific scenario with some commercial and hotel meters.
Mhm.
That's part of the equation, but yeah, let's circle back.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions?
Wanted to
Yeah, sure.
flip over to the customer service slides with Renell and
Mhm.
Keith. Give you an update on customer service.
Good morning, directors. Thanks for having us again. Gray alluded to the challenges we had this month, and you can see by the blanks, we still had some real challenges in February, and they reflected in the number. So I'll go through it. If you have any questions, as always, please ask. So for February, which is our focus, we still, despite the challenges, we still took in almost 21,000 calls, and we answered almost 18,000 calls. Our drop calls was a little high, contributing some. I will contribute that some to the nice issues, the conversion. We would like to be at about 1,500. I told Ms. Wardini in the call center, definitely less than 2,000 is our goal, right? So we could be comfortable at that 90% answer, because that's where we want to be, at least answer 90% of the calls that come in. We talked about that in the past, but despite the challenges, our average wait time was less than 3 minutes, so that was pretty good right there. They don't have the IVR numbers. That's the call-in numbers when you want to pay. But I told them just to put it for you all, even if it's not accurate, at least I could speak to it. And it's basically a result of the conversion to NICE. That's what's happening there. Our walk-ins, despite short month, low labor, we got some hiring we got to do. We still had almost equal from last month to with our walk-ins. Our emails was pretty much the same, a wash, and then we served still almost 23,000 customers. So I thought that was pretty good, despite all the challenges we had with the IVR system, with low labor in a short month. So this is our walk-in emails graphically. You can see we still, despite what I just mentioned, the issues, we still did better than we did in January. So the team is working hard. Our lobby on the West Bank and our lobby here have been almost full every day. And despite not having enough manpower, they're still doing a good job. And there's our average. You can see the number of customers we serve in February, and then I alluded to already that 2.5 minute average wait time, and I thought that was good, because we had a lot of issues in the call center in February. And that concludes the customer service experience. Any questions?
Yes, you were discussing staffing issues.
Yes.
So what is the plan on refilling them, or like, is it kind of walk me through what happened with that?
So that's a good question. So I've already met with the supervisors, and we have recs out to HR to bring in 3. We need really 4 people in customer service alone downstairs, and we need another 5 people in the call center. So Ms. Wardeen and Kendra have been given directives to issue requisitions to HR so we can bring people in.
Okay, and the requisition requests have been sent, but the
They
jobs
have
aren't
been.
posted yet.
Correct.
What's the turnaround time usually with that?
On average, since I've been here, it's about 3 months for us to get direct out, to get the person in the seat in orientation. I've seen it take about 3 months.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that the most significant contributor to maybe not having the numbers where you want them to be?
I would say it's a contributor. The other contributor was the issues with our conversion to NICE.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Yep, so that's all the prepared comments. You know, March, obviously, more events and more things going on, but appreciate y'all's time this morning. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you go back to page 14 for a second? I just had a quick question on something. Okay, obviously, the estimation went down to 10 million, I'm assuming, because of the historical that you only received 9 point whatever in 2025. Where was that initial estimation of the 18 million? Where did that come from? I'm just wondering like why there's such a variance between estimation and actual.
The city, in the transfer agreement, these were the 4 sort of funding sources. So it's from the discussion with the city that we believed that it would come to the 18.9 million, the former administration.
Okay. So now I see that, a couple of them are out. How is that impacting operations for this? Because that's a significant drop in, year over year. So has there been any reduction in, possible staffing? Like what's being
Yeah, it was
impacted by that?
Mostly the contracted catch basin cleaning, so the staffing is kind of a smaller group, but there was, going into it, I think a little bit of expectation. We'd have to wait and see what the consistent revenue sources would be. So and the city has communicated with us about, well, we know it's been short, they've got into the budgetary constraints, October, and then some discussion about, just this is the first year of the transfer, and we need to be able to share information to say, this is kind of O&M type cleaning. When you get to point repairs and things that you want to go back and do, you need like a funding source. You need to have some other financial commitment. So I think there'll be ongoing discussions, and the city has been, I think, open with us in terms of like communication back and forth to say, clearly it's less. What repairs could you do if you had more money? What's the list look like? What is possible other solutions that they would control? So it's very recent that the traffic camera redo did come through, so that was a good thing. We need consistent revenue to really plan.
Right.
If not, you're just kind of doing limited stuff and having to keep levers so that you can dial it back.
Yeah, it becomes reactionary. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
One additional question. With regard to staffing,
Yes, sir.
that 3-month timeframe,
Yes,
can
sir.
that in any way be expedited, or what prevents that from happening?
I won't speak to HR process, but I can definitely follow up with them, and we could talk about seeing how we can move that, streamline it a little bit more. They have made some huge improvements,
Right.
and they do a whole lot of things differently now, so it has helped. I could only speak from the time that I've been here, so I could follow up with Kim. I got a meeting with her today anyway, and I'll get back with you. with
Okay.
that.
Thanks.
That timeline is from application to actual employee into the seat. So there's a lot that goes into that HR has to handle on their end before we actually get that employee into the seat. So
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's also coordination with civil service as well.
that's
Civil
correct.
service, yeah.
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 I hate to jump back and forth, but now question about the minor drainage consolidation slide. And thank you, Director Greenwich, for raising this again. I'm trying to look at each of these matters from what the ratepayer is going to experience as a result of it, right? So if we have a shortage of staff in customer service, ratepayers may experience longer than anticipated wait times or difficulty with the customer service experience. In this situation, what should our ratepayers anticipate as a result of what we're seeing on this slide?
Well, I think the reality is, you know, we just started this department a year ago. And so the expectation last year was to utilize contracts, you know, for the majority of the work, right? And so, you know, not getting that $18 million set us back in terms of how much we can actually clean in a year, right? I believe we got about 15% cleaned, but our mark was roughly 20 to 25% every year.
Okay.
So that's the expectation, or that's the, that's what it's gonna be going forward, until we, you know, make that switch from being, contract
Contractor
reliant
based.
to in-house reliant,
Right.
right? And that's gonna take time, you know, it's just like, Keith alluded to is, you know, we need to get people in the door. And that does take time. You know, 3 months, you know, is a long time to get someone through the door. By that time, they could potentially have another job, right, lined up. So, you know, I think, you know, I'm not pointing fingers. It's just the reality of it right now. And, you know, we'll work at that. You know, it's team game, and that's what we need to do, right? And so if we're going to get less funding from the city, who have been great partners, we just need to utilize that money efficiently.
Got a question just for further context, if we know. Do we know what percentage the city cleared in 2024, or kind of what their benchmark was?
I don't know, and I'm, you know, I wouldn't want to speak for them, so
No, that's
I'll
okay,
let
if we
them-
knew.
No,
Yeah,
I don't,
okay.
I don't know.
So we don't have a baseline to know where we came from?
I recall this discussion I'm not in operations because I'm not on that committee, but I recall having this discussion, and I recall us talking in detail about what we were anticipating and specifically talking about contractor utilization and moving to onboarding in-house and the
correct.
constraints there. So I remember that. I do remember benchmarking.
Yeah.
And on how much we wanted to clear. I think it was 20% over 5 years.
Yeah, that's the bench, that's what we want to reach, but that wasn't, I think
Right.
Director Kennedy's asking what we
What was-
hit on in 2024. Jamie, you want to?
I was going to mention it was a strategic planning committee, and it was a presentation done by Dave Capel,
That's
which
it.
I can circulate
Okay,
to this
great.
committee.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know the exact number for 2024, what we hit, but I'm almost certain that we hit a higher number in 2025.
Right.
And we plan to try to hit that exact number or more this year as well.
Yeah.
Given, obviously, given funding expectations.
And just a question, just to understand, how is your team reacting and responding to the shift in capital on this? I mean, you've obviously reset the goal, right, accordingly to change in capacity. But are there other adjustments that you're making in response to this?
Yeah, and talking with my team and coming with a game plan, you know, I think we're fast tracking in-house staff versus contracting, right? I think that's the right move. It's the limitation is going to be actually getting people through the door and then the equipment we currently have, right? I believe right now we only have 5 trucks. Out of the 5 trucks, if I'm not mistaken, 3, if not 4, are down.
Yeah.
And these trucks are, they're complicated, right? If you go ask any outside contractor that works with these machines, they have a surplus of them because of this issue. So our goal is to fix the ones we have, continue to get more, right, through funding sources that we have to have, just in case they go down. And so we're constantly running, right? But that right now, that is not the case, right? We don't have the employees who need to run all 5 machines, I'm be honest. We're working towards that. There's masonry work that needs to be done, right? Catch basins that are falling into you know, the structure, those need to be repaired. Manhole adjustment, all these things need to be done. We need a team to build to really get this work completed. And so that's the goal, is to get people through that door, right? And then put them where we can based on the equipment we actually have, right? For masonry, we basically need a truck. We don't need the whole vacuum and everything else, right? So that's a lot easier of a sell than having to buy a $500,000 flush truck.
Right.
So it just depends on the money that we actually get in and then the staff that we can actually pull in on a month-to-month basis.
Yeah, I'm having deja vu. I really remember this conversation
Yeah,
in that
yeah, we-
strategy meeting. So, and I love to hear you say you're fast tracking, bringing folks in.
Yep.
Are we 100% clear on what the need is? Is it documented? Has it been socialized? Like, where are we on actualizing bringing the people in the door?
No, we know where we want to be. You know, I think what throws a little bit of wrench into it is right now we haven't really gotten the point repairs, you know, on a, we haven't gotten that settled in, right? The point repairs are still where we're, I believe, lacking, right? We understand in terms of how much we want to clean and how to get that done, what staff would be necessary for that. But without fully assessing the system, we don't know how many point repairs in the system are actually needed, right? It could be 100, it could be 1,000, right? I mean, look at our work order system for sewer and water. We're at 1,600, right? I'm not expecting drainage to be that much, but it's still a big unknown. And so until my team can go out there and do the full assessment of what we have in our system, that's a little bit of an unknown. So I would say on the cleaning side, on the day-to-day O&M side, I'm confident we know where we need to be. It's the point repair side where it's a little more of a mystery, not necessarily what needs to be done, but how much needs to be done.
How much needs to be?
Yes, ma'am. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Yep.
Thank you.
We're all good? All right, great. Stephen, we're coming right back to you.
Here, we get to the fun part.
Now we can proceed with 11 General Superintendent recommendations. Stephen Yang will present the General Superintendent recommendations for us.
Do you want to go first about the deferral?
Yeah, do the first contract.
Let's do the deferral first.
Do the deferral first? Okay, great.
Let you go.
So you want to talk about it, or?
No, we just,
Just defer,
we just
okay.
defer, so item B under contract awards renewal resolution, R40 2026 award of contract 2025 Sewage and Water Board 18 for skilled and unskilled labor for maintenance between SWB and Abacus Service Corporation. That item will be deferred.
So first in our 11 recommendations, may I have a motion to defer R40 2026 award of contract 2025 SWB 18 for skilled and unskilled labor for maintenance between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and Abacus Service Corporation. So been moved by Director Pacho,
Second.
second by Director Greenwich. Any questions?
What's the reason for the deferral?
Bid protest.
Oh, okay.
That's your question, that's good.
Yep.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. R040402026 is deferred. And next, we will go with our award renewals.
Yes, sir. So the first one is Resolution R032 2026, award of contract 30270 East Bank Wastewater Treatment Plant Phase 1A, secondary treatment upgrade between Sewage and Water Board and RNGD Infrastructure LLC. The original contract value for that is $23,920,750. Secondly, we have Resolution R041 2026, first renewal of contract 2025 SWB 15 ferric sulfate to the Algiers and Carrollton water plants between Sewage and Water Board and USCO. Sorry. That contract, the original contract value is $3.791,933.75. The requested change is $4,039,475, with a total contract change of 106.53%, bringing the total revised contract value to $7.831,408.75.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve contract award renewal R032 2026 and R041 2026? Moved by Director Greenwich, second by Director Pacho. Any question, discussion? Any public comment?
No public comment, Chair.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any abstentions, any nays? All right, motion carries. All right, next, contract
To
amendment?
Contract amendments, we have only one today. It's Resolution R 034-2026, authorization of amendment number 3 to the agreement between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and Westco International for the West Power Complex electrical and control cable. The original contract value was $13,802,204.36. This requested change is for $16,980.35 for a total change order request of 0.12%, bringing the revised contract value to $11,586,829.25.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve contract amendment R 034-2026?
So moved.
Moved by Director Scruggs. Second by Director Pacho. Any questions, discussion? Yes.
I have one question. It's for this contractor and a couple of other ones, the DBE participation.
Yes.
I saw where they said it was because they had to switch the type of cables that they were utilizing, that they were not able to meet that. Do we anticipate them being able to catch up? I think this is the one that was like super low, like I think like 0.9. Oh,
Yeah, she's just waiting for
To
you.
the cable,
Go ahead, Ms. Irma.
I'm a plumber, DBE director. Most of the cable for the 1420 power plant project has been purchased. They made some changes to the quantities that were needed, and we're talking about low voltage all the way up to high voltage. Most of the DBEs were going to be the suppliers of the low voltage because the high voltage was going to be procured directly from the manufacturer. And so when the quantities changed, so did the opportunity for DBE participation. There was involvement, but it was just reduced, unavoidable.
all right.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
because like,
Okay.
I saw that number and it bothered me a lot. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
that's a
no,
drop.
that's absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? All right. Any public comment on this?
No public comment, Chair.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstention, any nays? Great, all right. We've passed the motion for contract amendment R 034-2026. And next, our 7 contract change orders by ratification.
Yes, sir. So we'll start with the first. It's Resolution R 007-2026, ratification of change order number 1 for contract 1452, structural and filter rehabilitation between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and industrial and mechanical contractors. The original contract amount was $2,974,650. We actually are making a modification to the numbers here. The change order amount here is going to be $245,642.02, not the amount that's on the sheet now. We will make sure we get those revised numbers to you. So the original on here was $243,482.28. The revised numbers, again, are $245,642.02. That brings our total revised contract value to $3,220,292.02. And then in terms of the time extension requested days, the original request was 127. That's going to be bumped up to 157.
Before you continue, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I just want to check with special counsel about the update to this. If it's read in, is that acceptable, or do we need to do anything?
Just simply adopt with the changes, necessary changes and corrections.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, and we're sorry about that. We'll make sure we get those corrected on the front end. The second item we have is Resolution R 012-2026, ratification of change order number 4 for contract 30246, restoration of gravity flows sanitary sewer mains by point repair at various sites throughout Orleans Parish between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and Wallace C. Drennan. Let's see here. So the original contract value was $3,444,020. We are requesting a change of $1,335,445.47, which is a percent change of 38.78%. This brings our total revised contract value with all previous change orders to $12,417,505.47. Next, we have Resolution R35, 2026, ratification of change order number 6 for contract 30254, Carrollton Basin number 13, sewer rehabilitation between Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans and BLD Services. Our original contract value was $4.373468. We are requesting a change of $104,565.51, which is a percent change of 2.39%, bringing our total contract value with changes to $16,548,565.54. Next, we have Resolution R36, 2026, ratification of change order number 7 for contract 30255, Carrollton Basin number 14, sewer rehabilitation between Sewage and Water Board and Fleming Construction Company. The original contract amount is $9,891,203. We are requesting a change of $5.67 to bring this total contract value with all other change orders to $15,821,071.39. Next, we have Resolution 37, R37, 2026, ratification of change order number 6, contract 30256, Carrollton Basin number 15 between Sewage and Water Board and the Hard Rock Construction Company. The original contract value is $6,202,239.54. Requested change is $92,102.89 for a change of 1.48%, bringing the total contract value to date with all change orders to $8,812,256.84, and also a time extension of 126 days. Second to last one, Resolution R038, 2026, ratification of change order number 8 for contract 30260, Carrollton Basin number 19, sewer rehabilitation between Sewage and Water Board and Hard Rock Construction. The original contract value was $5.042385. This is a negative plan change of $1.550473.05 for a negative 30.75% change, bringing the total contract value to, oh, wait, that's not right. Oh, yeah, total contract value to $9,594,870.92. And then lastly, we have Resolution R39, 2026, ratification of change order number 3 for contract 30261, Carrollton Basin number 20, sewer rehabilitation between Sewage and Water Board and the Hard Rock Construction Company. That is the original contract value of $15,023,518.75. This change order is for $1.769721.21 for a percentage of 11.78, and bringing the total contract value to $19,767,857.95, and also a time extension for 160 days. That was the last one.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm gonna ask?
Ask away.
The reduction.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah. I feel like when we go through these, at times it feels overwhelming that we are just spending.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's evidence that there's an actual substantial process in place that gets us to that point, I want to know, what that part of the system looks like.
Let me see where we are here. No, I mean, we don't usually get those. That's for
Right.
sure. I'm trying to find my sheet. I'm sorry about that.
Problem.
Let's see here. So this one is really just to adjust the quantities. It looks like we may have overestimated some of the work that was included into the project. You know, for these SERP contracts, sometimes they're like find and fix type situations where the problem couldn't be found during the assessment stage. And so when we go out there, we assume that maybe, 50 feet of pipe needs to be replaced because it's a find and fix, but that may be lowered down to 10 feet. And so that's where we save some work. Pavement is saved. Pavement is our, a majority of our costs. So anywhere we can save pavement, that's a big deal. So
This is a function of our project managers?
yes, sir.
or-
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I love to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. All right.
Why don't you call the first one out?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we're gonna first ask for a motion to approve contract change order by ratification R007-2026 with the updates or changes as read into the record. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Director Greenwich,
Second.
second by Director Scruggs. Any discussion, questions around that? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much. And lastly, may we get a motion to approve contract order by ratification, resolutions number R012-2026, R035-2026, R036-2026, R037-2026, R038-2026, and R039-2026.
So moved.
Moved by Director Greenwich,
I'll second.
second by Director Pacho. Any questions? Yes.
Kind of similar, Wallace and Hard Rock DBE participation drop.
Ms. Plummer.
I think Wallace dropped, Hard Rock had some drop in DBE participation, and I believe between the multitude of these, there was something listed about at the direction of Sewage and Water Board, Mitchell was removed as a subcontractor, I believe, so I just didn't know any commentary on that.
Well, you want me to go first? So with Mitchell, they were doing the lining for Hard Rock Construction. We, at the board, our project managers found that the linings that were being done were not adequate, so we asked them to be removed from the project. And they were the DBE for Hard Rock Construction at the time.
So that's probably.
That's correct.
Correlation, okay. And then Wallace?
Yes, sir.
The same.
The only thing I can think of at this moment is we're getting to the tail end of the program, which a lot of contractors use pavement as their DBE.
Okay,
And so all the pipe work is a lot of that's done in-house through their own crews and obviously they're not DBEs. So that number should increase in the coming months with the pavement being, restored. But we'll track those numbers. I know Irma's very, very good at that. And so if we're not meeting those marks, we will let you guys know.
and what happens when a contractor doesn't meet
Meet the
those?
goal. It depends on the situation. If the scope of work has changed, at the request of the Sewage and Water Board, if the nature of the work is, nature and scope are the same, we try to work with the department and the situation. I have to say that our primes perform. Our program is mature, robust, and by and large, the primes understand that when a goal is set, that they have to meet it, they should meet it. It is aspirational, but it's been a healthy project. What we do different from the city is that we take each procurement, each contract, we look at the scope of work, we evaluate the opportunity for DBE participation based on the market, meaning DBEs ready, willing, and able to perform the work. And so when we set a goal, it is not just one size fits all. It is specific to that contract. And I think that's why we've got a program where by and large, the primes do meet the aspirational goal.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. It's great. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Just a note, this committee has always been concerned about the change order process. And it's come up before. And I think some things were put in place to address that.
Yes, sir.
Is that still ongoing, the monitoring of these requests to the point where we can validate or non-validate the request?
Yeah, no, we still do our checks and balances. It goes through multiple steps. With the projects you see here, especially with the SERP side, those are a little tougher, only because we were recently put on the spot to replace the pavement fully and not temporary, because we were coordinating with the JR program. So a lot of the changes you see on the SERP side had to do with that, right? We had to go from temporary pavement to permanent pavement. And so that added a significant cost to a lot of these projects. There, with the exception of, I think, 30254, which was with BLD, that was the one where we had to add that line in that was going underneath the building. But other than that, a lot of this, like the Fleming contract, a lot of Hard Rock contracts, that's modifications to the pavement and not necessarily to the sewer work itself.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? All right. Is that the end of the General Superintendent's report?
Yes, sir.
And there are 3 information items for committee members. Are there any public comment?
Did you call a vote for this?
Oh, no, we voted. Thank you. Thank you. We got a motion. We were at discussion. I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. Any noes, any abstentions? All right, motion carries for those change orders by ratification. Thank you. There are 3 information items for committee members. Are there any public comments?
No public comments, Chair.
Thank you very much. Being no further business before this committee, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Director Scruggs.
Second.
Second by Director Greenwich. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all very much.